Hello, and welcome to the Gardner Innovation Search Partners podcast. On this show, we sit down with brilliant minds guiding the amazing work being performed at universities across the globe. I'm your host, Quentin Thomas, and today I'm excited to be here with Dr. Stacy Patterson, Vice President for Research at Florida State University. Dr. Patterson oversees Florida State University's research operation, which has more than $400 million annually in expenditures and more than 50 prominent research centers and institutes. She comes from the University of Tennessee system, where she spent the past 16 years in various positions, including researcher, licensing associate, and vice president for research, outreach, and economic development. Dr. Patterson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on and excited to share your wisdom and experience with our audience as well. So just to get started, can you share a little bit about your background as, coming from licensing associate research faculty at the University of Tennessee and how you decided to step into the role of vice president of research at Florida State University?
Sure. So to say that my career path has been unique is probably an understatement. I would say that I didn't plan any of it. I got into research administration really as an inventor. So I was really passionate even as early as in graduate school about the application of my work, and I've been contributor on several patents that have been the basis of several licenses and one startup company. So I've been a founder, one of four founders in a startup company called 490 Biotech that is still in existence and chugging along. So worked my way through the ranks, and then ultimately in 2017 did become appointed as the Vice President for Research, Outreach, and Economic Development at the University of Tennessee, and proudly served in that role for about 5.5 years. And about 2 years ago, I had an opportunity that found me to make a change to Florida State University. This university is definitely a university on the rise, and had just recently recruited a new president, President Richard McCullough, who came as a former vice president for research from Harvard University. And so it was a unique opportunity to come here as a builder, build on some unique strengths that are here at Florida State, and really see what we could do. And I would say I've been here on the ground for a little over a year and a half, and it's been really exciting, and we have lots of opportunity. And part of that is building our translational or applications-based infrastructure here at Florida State.
Yeah, that's awesome. And talking about building and some of the great opportunities there, I mean, let's just go ahead and jump into that. During our prep call, you mentioned that FSU recently completed its first ever research strategic plan. And could you share a little bit with our audience about some of the key strategies and goals that were outlined in that plan and how they'll shape the future of research at the university?
Sure. So one of the challenges that President McCullough gave us for one of my first days was that he wanted us to complete a campus-wide research strategic plan. To be clear, it's not a strategic plan for the Office of Research. It's really a research strategic plan for FSU. And so that meant that we needed to get the campus really involved, and we had a lot of faculty members and researchers who were involved in coming together to identify some of our challenges, some of the barriers, but also some of the opportunities. And in that, we developed collectively 5 key strategies that we think will really help us to move to that next level. We're really focused on building on the strengths that are here at Florida State, building on the people who are here, but also recruiting new talent, building infrastructure around that talent. But I think it's really important that the plan really is people focused. And I find that Florida State University is very people focused. And so it's an opportunity for us to maintain that part of our mission and our culture here, and taking our research enterprise to the next level by supporting our people and bringing new people into the fold to help us to grow that.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things I really love about that is that people focus. Like, it's really easy to get caught up in whether it's the product you're developing, the service you're providing, but then forgetting about the people behind all of it. So that I love that.
Well, I really believe, I mean, we can have the best facilities in the world, we can have the most equipment in the world, but really, anyone who's been in the commercialization business, working with industry, trying to take ideas and concepts to market and apply them, knows that it really is a people business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'm sure that all of our listeners will agree with that 100%. You talked about like five, I forgot how you said it, five key strategies in this strategic plan. Are you able to share those
Sure.
five?
Yeah. So the first one is our people, retaining and recruiting the top talent from around the world. The second is partnerships and innovation. So really focusing on the innovation ecosystem here at Florida State. How do we mature that? And we recognize that we can't do what we need to do alone. So partnerships are a key part of that. We also need to support infrastructure. And again, I'll say that infrastructure is not just buildings and equipment. It's really goes back to the people. Focusing on scholarship and excellence is the fourth strategy, and that's really about communicating our strengths and focusing creating critical mass and focusing on those strengths and the scholarship and excellence around it, really always holding to the highest level of quality. And then we identified strategic impact areas. So, three strategic impact areas and two cross cutting themes. So, the three areas are building a healthy Florida, advancing materials, and building a resilient future. I can't think of any better place than the state of Florida to think about resiliency. And then our two cross-cutting themes are in the area of the future of data. So I think we all can agree that AI, machine learning, and data are really changing our worlds already. And so as we're building our research enterprise and thinking about how we're going to apply it, if we're not thinking about artificial intelligence and how to responsibly use it, if we're not thinking about how we're using the data, then we're going to be left behind. And then the last cross-cutting theme is really, I think, unique and central to who FSU is as an institution, and that's about putting people first. So putting people at the center, the human experience at the center of the why of our research programs.
As a person raised in Florida, I'm definitely interested in that and building a resilient Florida. And I see how, like the state as a whole, right? It attracts a lot of attention. I mean, whether it's people relocating down there, I think there's been a lot of growth, and I think a lot of the work that Florida State is doing is going to have be able to have a huge impact on what's going on in the state, but not only in the state, in the country as well, too.
And I think as a public R1 institution, that's part of our mission is impacting Floridians and beyond. And so I think that's part. Most of our funding comes from federal sources, so having a national impact is really key to our mission as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming back to your experience again and just talking about your background, you have this unique perspective as a VPR where you came from being a former faculty member and a licensing associate, and now you're vice president of research. How have you seen the innovation ecosystem in academia evolve over the years from these unique perspectives, and what current trends are you most excited about?
So I think it's an exciting time. I think of over the last decade, particularly, there's been a real emphasis, particularly with our federal sponsors who have focused on the application of our work, and really, the NSF's TIP directorate is a really good example of this. And we recently here at Florida State were one of the first awardees in the first cohort of winning one of the National Science Foundation's ART grants, which is accelerating research translation, and that's helping us to build infrastructure that's taking an opportunity for us to change the culture here at Florida State, that it's not just the idea, but it's the application of that idea and the impact that can have on the world, that idea can have on the world. That's really key. And so that I think is a shift that we're seeing in all the funding agencies, and in thinking about having a commercialization plan, having a translational research plan, having an applications plan as part of the thought process as you're developing your grant proposals and your ideas is really key. And so I think it's an exciting time. There's also an opportunity for us, more opportunities for us as institutions to think about how our work at universities is really impacting the economic development in our region. So with the NSF engines opportunities that have come out, 10 have been awarded across the country. There's a call out right now that many people are familiar with and working fearlessly on about taking these concepts and ideas to really building a knowledge economy right here, right in their backyards and building these innovation ecosystems. And I think that's really key, and it has an opportunity to transform our economy as a nation, and really helps us to be more economically independent. But and it also has lots to do with how we're competing internationally in this worldwide economy.
That shift and focus on looking at commercialization and the economic impact it will have, I can see that, because it does seem like, and I'm not sure at FSU what the numbers look like too. You see a lot more innovation and ideas coming to the table. And I think at most institutions, the number of disclosures are increasing and the workload is increasing. And there is this increase. I'm not sure if scrutiny is the right word, but maybe scrutiny is the right word on the work being done as well, too. So, yeah, I'm just curious what you see about that as well, too.
Yeah, so I think that there's a real need to be focused on basic and applied research. They really go hand in hand, and so you can't have one without the other. And so I think it's a real opportunity for us as we mature our innovation ecosystems to really start to get people to think about that whole continuum from idea or concept to then prototype to then application. And so I think the federal agencies have recognized this. I think our partnerships have grown and matured into our have helped mature our thinking around these things, and it is allowing our research communities to have opportunities to further their ideas maybe than they could have a decade ago. And I think that's an exciting time for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite the increased, I get, like I said, maybe there's increased scrutiny in the area. Like you said, there's more opportunities as well, too. So,
Yeah, and more and different kinds of opportunities. So, it allows more people to have a seat at the table with some diverse perspectives, and gets people thinking a little bit differently than they might have about their research, a few years ago. And so I think that will allow us to come up with new ideas and spur on new opportunities as these programs mature.
yeah, what you just said there about diverse perspectives, I feel like that's tying right into your people
Mhm.
aspect of your mission as well, too, because you're right. Whenever you have these diverse perspectives, whenever you bring in new ideas, and even in like the VC space, even in spaces where it comes to funding, communities of people who are just one type of person or one group of people that's very it can become siloed in a way, and then you do lose that perspective, you lose that insight and that creativity that you would get from those different perspectives. So I love that you're working that into Florida State University's research efforts as well too. So
Yeah, the best solutions come with the with when lots of minds are thinking about it, right? So if you can get more people with different perspectives at the table working on a problem, and today's problems are really require that, right? So the challenges that we're facing as a nation and as a world require this kind of interdisciplinary, multi-perspective kinds of thought. And so that's the thing, that's the part of us maturing our innovation ecosystems that I think is really the opportunity for our nation.
I love it. Well, to close out, what would you like our audience to know about Florida State University? Like, if you were to leave everyone with one thing about your institution that you want them to know, or it could be two, that's okay too. What would that be?
Well, I think Florida State University is a university on the rise. We have a commitment to being a modern, cutting edge public Research One institution. It's a welcoming, warm environment, sometimes literally warm. uh, and so this is a place that I think is really growing and focused on impact and making the lives of people not only here but around the world better. And so it's an exciting place to be, and we would welcome people to come and visit and learn more about what we're doing. We're also open for partnerships, and so we're very eager to partner with other institutions and private sector companies, and would love the opportunity to show off some of the resources that we have here, but also recognize we can't do it alone. And so again, one of our strategies was partnerships and innovation, and we'd love to partner.
Stacey, thank you so much for coming on to the Gardner Innovation Search Partners podcast. I appreciate you sharing your insights with our audience. And for all of our listeners out there, you can learn more about Florida State University and the work that's being done there by checking out the links in our show notes. And to learn more about Gardner Innovation Search Partners, you can visit gardnerisp.com. Thanks again, Stacey, for coming on.
Thank you, Quentin, and thanks to Gardner Search Partners.